متعلم.
Alrighty. Bismillah wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Assalamu alaikum, you guys. Okay, so I've, some of you are doing really well with your memorizations. You're sending me some remarkable self-recordings, even though I didn't ask for them, but some of you just really like making your teacher proud since you were like 6 years old. So you keep that up right now, and you want me to send you a star sticker, and I have. So that's cool. These kids are also struggling memorizing the families. I'm going to finish teaching you all 8 families today. Okay. So there's 3 more families to go. They are grouped together. And the way I want you to organize your thoughts is that there are 3 groups. There are 8 families, but they're broken up into 3 groups. Okay. So Aslama, Allama, and Jahada are one group. Okay. Let me put that on the screen. Aslama, Allama. You did?
Yeah. I was singing it to my mom, but it was like cringy.
I want to hear a cringy song.
You do?
Yeah.
It wasn't even like singing. It was just like me saying it like in a singing voice.
Somebody sent me a cartoon they made with like a baby singing it or something.
Yeah.
So it was a bunch of. Oh, by the way, cool story of the day. It was what was her name? She sent me an email. I just saw it, even though I'm not supposed to read emails when I'm stopping at a traffic light. But I did. Now I can't find it. But anyway, so there's a student from Nigeria. She's memorizing the Quran, right? Yeah. And she's finishing Baqarah, or she had to review Baqarah to her teacher. And she's doing the review, and she's coming up to the ayah, and she wrote it like this. She goes, Shaitan told me to say ala al-muttaqoon. And I was like, wait, hold on a second, Shaitan, hold on. Wait, ala is a harf jar. It can't be una. It has to be ina. So she read ala al-muttaqeen. And she just wanted to send me a thank you note because she knows about the harf jar. Now she didn't mess that up. Yeah. And her memorization got easier. Pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty cool. Because you know what happened one time? I was leading the prayer back in New York. I was leading the prayer, and I was reading. It happened to be a passage from Surah Al-Baqarah also. And it was an ayah in which the Messenger ﷺ is the doer. And the disbelievers are a detail, something like that, right? So the Rasul ﷺ is rafa, and the disbelievers were nasb, right? Yeah. So when I read it, the person behind me wanted to reverse that, right? And if you reverse that, the ayah is actually saying something that's kufr, like it's condemning the messenger, and it's making it's honoring the disbelievers or something crazy like that. So he, when people correct you, they say it out loud. So he says it out loud, and I say the same thing again. He says it out loud again, like, hey, you're not doing it. Because he's so sure he knows it right? So I keep insisting on it. Yeah. And he finally, in the prayer, he goes, I finished the prayer, and he says, brother, I was like, I know. And then I didn't want to explain the grammar to him because he would feel bad. So I just opened up the Muslim and said, this is what you were saying. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, really? It's like that? I was like, yeah, it's like that. But, the harakat can actually make a pretty big difference. But anyway, I'll listen to your wonderful song in a bit. I want to start off with Aslama, Allama, and Jahada are a group. Yes. What makes them a group is that they have something in common. They have yuslimu, yu'allimu, and yujahidu in common. What does that mean? That the present tenses have a U and a E, and a U and a E, and a U and a E. That's what they have in common. That's why they're grouped together. And in fact, no other families in all of Arabic, well, in the Arabic, in your universe, because there are parallel universes, and there's 7 skies. So, but in the current universe, no other family has U on it. So if you see a U on it, and especially a U and an E, it's got to be these 3 families. U and E like 100%. Right, so it's got to be these 3 families: yuslimu, yu'allimu, yujahidu. Right. So now these 3 families are one group: aslama, allama, and jahada. Right. And the thing about the jahada family is that kind of sticks out is it's got 2 masdars. Right. So it's kind of jihadan wa mujahadatan, qitalan wa muqatalatan, shi'aran wa musha'aratan, hiwaran wa muhawaratan. Things like that. So there's always going to be 2 masdars for these. Then there are 2 families that are also related to each other: ta'allama and yata'awana. They have an extra ta, both of them. No, sorry, I said it wrong. Ta'awana. I don't know what I'm thinking. Ta'awana. Okay, ta'allama and ta'awana. they both have an extra ta in the beginning. They're super fathafied.
Yeah.
So if you know one, you almost know the other already, because you know ta'allama and ta'awana, if you put them, ta'allama yata'allamu ta'alluman, right? And ta'awana, fatha, 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 just like ta'allama, and yata'awanu, just fatha, 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 just like the other one. By the way, remember, aslama was yuslimu,
Yeah.
right? So it was yuslimu, but this starts with ya,
Yeah.
right? And there was a u and a e, yuslimu, yu'allimu, yujahidu. But in these ones, it's ya ta'allamu, ya ta'awanu. Everything is fathafied.
Yeah.
And then the masdar, it has a single dhamma in it, ta'awunan, ta'awunan. Okay? تعاونا تدبر يتدبر تدبرا تكاثر يتكاثر تكاثرا. And then تكاثر, the masdar is used in the surah ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر. So التكاثر is actually is this تعاون family, تكاثر يتكاثر تكاثرا, right? So that's where this comes from. But anyway, these two families are related to each other, right? They're the ta families and they have super fathas on them.
Yeah.
That's why we learned them together. Now, and by the way, the rest of the lines you can actually almost kind of come up with yourself. If you know this much, the three, then the formula to create the rest is actually automated. What do I mean? Let's play with that a little bit. تعلم يتعلم تعلما فهو, that's going to be an ism fa'il, right?
Yeah.
And ism fa'il is always take the present tense and put a mu in it,
Yes.
but not just a mu. The ism fa'il wants a mu and a e before the last letter. Mu and e. Always. Ism fa'il wants mu and e. Doesn't matter which family I teach you. So تعلم يتعلم تعلما فهو متعلم, because it wants a mu and a e. Right? So that's, we came up with that. So تكبر يتكبر تكبرا فهو متكبر. Okay? تشكر يتشكر تشكرا فهو متشكر. The Turks use, for thank you, they say tashakkurlar. In Dari, you guys say tashakkur.
Yes.
Right? Which is actually tashakkara yatashakkaru tashakkuran. It's the masdar from tashakkara, from this family. So it came from Arabic and it came into the language. Right?
Yeah.
Or, you know, in Urdu, lots of Urdu words, lots of Farsi words, lots of Turkish words, lots of Bahasa Indonesia words are actually from these families. Like Urdu speakers also say, you know, badi zabardast takrir ki unhone, takrir. Qarrara yuqarriru taqriran fahuwa muqarrirun. Right? Or tahrir, right? They say tahrir for writing in Urdu. Harrara yuharriru tahriran fahuwa muharrirun. Right? Yeah.
You made your ism fa'il light.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that.
No, I didn't. What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. I never even. Okay. Now, so you understand the formula to make an ism fa'il?
Yeah.
So in your head, even if it's not like you have to remember it without thinking about it. If you know ta'allama yata'allamu ta'alluman, your brain should start working fast enough and say, oh, I'm in the ta'allama family, muta'allim. Ta'allama, muta'allimun. Aslama, muslimun. Jahada, oh, mujahidun. Allama, oh, muallimun. Mu'i, right? Ta'awana, oh, muta'awinun.
I stayed up like an hour yesterday, or like an hour and a half for like memorizing it.
Uh-huh.
And then when I went to bed, I kept waking up, right, thinking about aslama yuslimu jahida. Jahada. Yeah, I kept like thinking about it. I was like,
don't overthink. Just if you understand how they're made, then they're not going to look like 10 words that are so weird. You're going to start seeing them as just 3 words, and the rest of them are just born out of those 3 words.
Yeah.
Okay? So now look at the second line. The second line is always the same thing. Ta'allama is the first word in the first line.
Yeah.
We're just converting that word with what? A bunch of u's and 1 e. That's it. So if it was aslama, it'll just become u'i, is what you have to remember in this word. U'i. And then the next word, so this will be tu'ullima. Tu'ullima. If it was aslama, we made it uslima. If it was jahada, we made it juhida. If it was tasa'ala, we made it tusu'ila. Right? So every time we did the same thing. U'i. U-E.
Yeah.
Oh, Uslimu is wrong. Uslima. Over here. Uslima. Okay?
Ustad,
So now, yeah.
we're getting a lot of requests to slow down.
Okay. So the what I'm trying to get at is when you make the passive, the first word in the second line for any of the families,
Yeah.
you're going to do exactly the same thing. You're not doing something new in one family and something else in another family. Actually, you're doing the same thing every time. The first word, which is the past passive, is always going to have U and E.
Yeah.
So tu'ullima had it, uslima had a U-E, juhida had U-E, tusu'ila had U-E.
Yeah.
Get it?
Mm-hmm.
Is that much okay? Did that make sense? The U-E thing for the second line? For all the families together? Anybody
Looks
have
like it.
confusion? Yeah, okay. All right. Now yata'allamu.
يتعلم.
The second word in every family, you do exactly the same thing. You just do u. I'll write it in English. U, ah. That's all you're. So the first word is always u, e in every family.
Yeah.
And the second word is always u, ah. When I say u, e, remember one thing, both of you and all of you. When I say u, e, I'm not talking about the last letter. When I say u, ah, I am not talking about the last letter. The first word will always have an a at the end. The second word will always have an u at the end. That's not what we're changing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's aslama and yuslimu and uslima and yuslamu. It's always a and u. The first two words, first one ends with a, second one ends with u every time.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm changing. I'm only changing everything before the last letter. So u-i tu'ullima and u-a will be yuta'allamu. Yuta'allamu. And in the first family, yuslimu.
يسلم.
So yuslimu was the top line,
Yeah.
but uslima yuslamu.
Oh, يسلم.
U-a.
Mhm.
And then it was yu'allamu. And it was yujahadu. I'm going across the families now.
Yeah.
The second word in all of them was you-a. 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 And yutasa'alu. Aren't we doing the same thing over and over? Right? You get used to that, this becomes easier to memorize. The first word, the passive line, because there's the active line. I keep calling it the first line.
Yeah.
The first line is the active line. The second line is the passive line.
Yeah.
The passive line is when you don't know the doer, you only know the done to, right?
Yeah.
That passive line is always, it has the same sounds. The Arabs, it's such an ingenious language. They come up with these sounds and they use them throughout the thousands and millions of words, you know? And you can just tell, even if you don't know the meaning of the word, I know this word is passive. It's so cool. Just like without knowing the meaning of a word, you can tell it's rafa in the ism world.
Yeah.
In the sarf world, you can tell what's active and what's passive if you're just paying attention to the sounds, and then you can look at the meanings. So half the meaning's already in your head as you're hearing the sounds. It's so, so cool. So, tu'ullima yuta'allamu. Right?
Yeah.
Masdar.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to come up with that. And then the ism maf'ul. This next one is called the ism maf'ul, right?
Yeah.
The top ending, this guy is called the ism fa'il. This guy is called the ism maf'ul. You can get the ism maf'ul two ways. You choose which one's easier for you. You can use the present tense from this line, yuta'allamu, and just put a mu there and you're done. So muta'allamun. Okay. Well, of course, it's gonna have to. We never do the ending.
Yeah.
Isms will end with a tanween, and fi'ils will end with just a dhamma or fatha.
Yeah.
Right. So muta'allamun. Fine. That's one way to get the ism maf'ul quickly. So, what's the ism maf'ul for aslama? Well, it's muslamun. No, it's muslamun.
Yeah.
Ism fa'il is muslimun.
Muslimun,
Now let me say that again. All the ism fa'ils are mu'i.
Okay.
All the ism fa'ils are what? Mu'i. And all the ism maf'uls are mu'a.
Yeah.
Okay? And we'll make a list of these observations, not for you to memorize those observations, but to help you memorize the families better. So if you make these have these observations in your head, memorizing these families will become a little bit better. We'll make a list of them. But for now, just hear me out. Then we'll write them out. I'll have you write these out. So one way to make the ism maf'ul is you take the present tense from this line
Yeah.
and just memify it. So instead of yuta'allamu, it became muta'allamun, right?
Mhm.
The other is you can just remember that each line ends with a mu word, right? And the first of them, you need jumping jacks because that's like your fourth yawn. I ignored the first, second, but now you're on intensive 3.
Okay.
You're doing okay. Like usually when somebody yawns, Shaitan says, "Hey, let me get you," because it's like a collective thing.
Yeah.
But today you're like holding your ground. You're like, or were you like fighting the yawn?
Sleep.
You had a lot of sleep?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you were up late.
No.
Yes.
No. I woke up a lot for some reason. I went to sleep before you.
What did you eat?
Me?
Yeah.
What did I eat?
Yeah.
Like for breakfast?
No dinner.
Shola and some gosht.
Did you eat some sugary stuff?
No.
Did you have soda?
No.
Ice cream?
No.
Chocolate?
No.
Candy?
No.
Gummies?
No.
Nothing. No extra sugars.
No.
And you woke up anyway a lot.
I woke up at like 1 in the morning.
And stayed up?
No. I woke up at 1 in the morning. and
Fortnite?
No.
Okay.
1 in the morning, reviewed again.
Reviewed at 1 in the morning.
Yeah, I reviewed in my head, and then so I could like
Man,
get some rest
he's
in
holier than these books. Okay. Okay, wow. 1 in the morning review.
It was because like I couldn't go to sleep because I felt bad if I didn't do it.
That's crazy. Okay. Very
And I
proud.
woke up at 5 in the morning.
But yeah.
today.
Most important thing for you, I want you guys to be energetic when you have this class.
Yeah.
Some of you actually, I set up this class at this time in the morning, actually because I wanted to make this easier for people on the other side of the ocean.
Yeah.
Because this is actually not a convenient time for Americans and Canadians, and
Yeah.
it's just not, because people are working at this time, right? I mean, on the weekends it's easier, but people are generally working at this time, or kids have
Yeah.
school at this time. But those of you that are working, you have a long day at work, and then you're finally coming into this class,
Yeah.
right? So you got to do something to keep your energy level high.
Yeah.
So you need to eat a banana or something. You need to eat something with like a good amount of energy boost, something good with fiber,
Yeah.
right? And just give yourself a jolt.
Mhm.
I don't recommend sodas and high fructose corn syrup type
Yeah.
stuff. Eat something natural. Drink a lot of water. Do a little light exercise. You don't have to do jumping jacks if you don't want to, but get your blood flowing, because your physical state actually affects your learning. It does. And if you're not getting enough sleep, then find some other time in which you are getting enough sleep so you can pull this off. I used to, when I was taking this class for the first time with my teacher, his version of this class, it was 3 hours a day for 3 weeks, right? It was 1 day off, 6 days a week. So it was 18 days, right? I give you guys 10 days straight. He did 18 days with 1 day in between, right? But
Crucial.
it was like Monday to Saturday. Only Sunday was off,
Okay.
right? But I used to have college in the morning. Then I had work. I had work until 6. I had to be in his class by 7. So I had a 1-hour train commute from 6 to 7 to get to Flushing, Queens, because you have to take a train and you have to take a bus to get to his class, right? And so I would take the train, and I would find a place because the trains in New York are pretty crowded. So you just find a wall to lean against and sleep while you're standing, because I need to get some sleep in before I'm in his class, because I need to be energetic,
Yeah.
right? So, or on the bus, if you can. I learned to sleep when I was standing. That was pretty amazing. It was like a pretty vampire situation, like,
Yeah.
right? But you gotta take care of yourself if you're gonna learn Arabic, and you have to have energy. And so,
Yeah.
Even if you wake up at 1 in the morning, don't review, go back to sleep, because I need you 100% here. Okay? All right. So one way of getting the ism maf'ul is yuta'allamu becomes muta'allamun, right? Yuta'allamu becomes muta'allamun. You saw that conversion, right? Another way is, if you can remember that each line ends with a mu word,
Yeah.
and the first one ends with mu'i, so the second one's got to end with mu'a.
Yeah.
So muslimun and muslamun, muallimun and muallamun, mujahidun and mujahadun, right? Muta'allimun and muta'allamun, mutasa'ilun and mutasa'alun. Simple.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 2 ways you can get that last word. Now we get to al-amru minhu. Al-amru minhu, the easiest, there's a long way. I taught you the long way in the intensive. How do you make a command? you take the second person present tense. Like I remember we did tansuru,
Yeah.
like you help. And how do you make it a command? First, you make it the lightest version.
Yeah.
Then you get rid of the ta, right?
Yeah.
Then if you can't read it, you add an alif.
Yeah.
Then you look at the second last letter. And then if it's got an u, you put an u.
Oh, yeah.
And if it has anything else, you put an e.
Yeah.
We did that whole thing. And it's a lot to remember.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to that eventually. But you don't have to do the entire process. I want to give you shortcuts for now so you can just get this in your head,
Yeah.
right? Commands and forbidding, I have not gone in detail at all. We're going to take that time to do that.
Yeah.
But right now, I just need to know the chapter heading for command and
Yeah.
forbidding. So in these two families, in the ta'allama and ta'awana families, right? The command is simply the first word that you said
Yeah.
with a sukoon. Al-amru minhu ta'allam. Ta'allam. Just put a sukoon on it and you've got the command. Al-amru minhu ta'allam. That's how the quickest way to get it. And so for the first word was tasa'ala, right?
Yeah.
Al-amru minhu tasa'al.
Yeah.
So you don't change anything except the last haraka.
Yeah.
So do you know how to get the command quickly for these two families? Just look at the past tense and just turn it into sukoon at the end. No other change, right? But let me show you the commands for the other families. So the jahada family becomes jahid.
Yeah.
So you do change one thing. You didn't change it. Here you kept the fatha because this is a super fatha-fied family.
Yeah.
For jahada, if you want to quickly get to the command, jahada will become jahid. Allama will become allim.
Oh,
Allim. Again, these three families have something in common. Even the way their commands look has something in common. The commands have a fatha start and a kasra after that.
Yeah.
Allim, jahid, and aslama becomes aslim. Right? So because these three are a group,
Yeah.
so their commands are kind of similar.
Yes.
Okay? Jahid, allim, aslim. Okay? Are these observations helping you guys? Like you're hoping to kind of see some of these patterns before we write them? We'll write all of these out, but I want you to make sense of them first. Then when we write them, it'll make more sense. Okay, good. Now, وَالنَّهْيُ عَنْهُ. These two families are a bunch, right?
Yeah.
That's the Sa'ala family and the Ta'allama family.
Yeah.
The easy thing to do is just that first word you just said, Ta'allam, just say it again with an extra ta.
Oh, yeah.
So وَالنَّهْيُ عَنْهُ لَا
تتساءل.
تَتَعَلَّم,
Oh, تتعلم. And then.
and al-amru minhu was tasa'al la tatasa'al. Like just that same word with an extra ta.
Yeah.
That's it. And of course, you're going to add a la, that goes without saying, right?
Yeah.
So for these two families, it's not that hard to come up with the forbidding. It's just more wordy than the commanding. The commanding had a single ta, and the forbidding has a double ta. Ta'allam, la tata'allam. Tasa'al, la tatasa'al. Okay? وَالنَّهْيُ عَنْهُ لَا تَتَسَاءَلْ. Now let's look at the forbidding in these. These are, you remember what the present tense, the mudari' was for jahada? Jahada,
يجاهد.
yujahidu. Allama, what's the present tense? Yu'allimu. Aslama,
يسلم.
yuslimu. The present tense letter, you, is always a you. Yujahidu, yu'allimu, yuslimu. That's what makes these one family.
Yeah.
So when you make their forbidding, it's not going to be la tajahid, it'll be la tujahid, and then la tu'allim, and then la, this one's complicated, la tuslim. Because the command so in jahid, it's pretty easy. You just took jahid and added a tu.
Yeah.
For alim, you just added a tu and it was done. For aslim, it's kind of weird because you took the ta off and you took the alif off and put a tu there instead.
Yeah,
So it's a bit more complicated, right? So aslim la tuslim.
Yeah.
Okay, but what they have in common, la tu, la tu, la tu. These first three families, you're gonna get la tu
Yeah.
when you forbid. Okay, does that make sense so far? This observation, those three families have something in common when you make forbidding and commanding, and these two families have something in common. That's why we bunch them together, because they have similar patterns in behavior. right? Now, what's the last word? الأمر منه تعلم والنهي عنه لا تتعلم والظرف منه if you're
متعلم.
it's the same word repeated again. So it's not even some new work.
Mhm.
متعلم.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mhm.
Now, let's write these observations. About
on paper?
yeah.
Okay.
Write it on the back of this.
Okay.
أسلم علم جاهد.
Okay.
So first we'll write observations about these three.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get a paper set. Paper. Okay, my printer messed it up. Put it double-sided.
Okay, number one.
Mhm.
This much Arabic you can write. And what do I mean by that? Now you know. Aslama starts with yuslimu, allama starts with yu'allimu, and jahada starts with yujahidu. The present tenses start with you. That's the first thing they have in common. Starts with you and has E. Ain letter means second last letter. Remember the fa letter means first letter? Ain letter means second letter.
Mhm.
Lam letter means last letter. So yujahidu, he, right? It's the second last letter. That letter is always called the ain letter,
Yeah.
right? So it has the E sound. So yuslimu, yujahidu, yu'allimu. All of them, U and E. If you can write that in Arabic, well and good. Yuslimu, yu'allimu, yujahidu. Move that so you can see better. If you can't write that in Arabic, then you can write it in yuslimu, yu'allimu, yujahidu. But what I want from this is I need you to make note of something. The you part, you can underline it. I can color it because I'm cooler.
Yeah.
U and E. And then U and then E. U. I'll just color both. And E. What happened to my other colors? Hey.
Prepared to be amazed by my Arabic handwriting stuff.
So some of you are super geeks. You have like highlighters ready. Oh, you think you're the only one who can color us that? Watch this.
Were you a geek back in your college days?
No. I had a lot of stationery that I never used. I was one of those guys. You guys don't even know that era, man. We used to have like those stationery boxes that look like a robot and they open up. They look like a transformer or something.
Yeah.
And they have the eraser. Who remembers that? Any of you old enough to remember those things? The magnetic pencil box thing that opened and had the eraser and the pencils and the pens and color coded and stuff. And the girls had like the pink ones with the flowers and whatever. And the boys had like the robots and like the nobody knows what I'm talking about? No.
Like,
so cool. Never used any of it. Actually, it was so bad because those erasers look really cool. They look kind of like a robot or a truck or something.
Yeah.
So you would never use your eraser because the eraser starts getting like worn out, right? I was like, hey, did somebody use my eraser? Oh my God, the tire's gone.
That was back in college?
No, man, that was in 5th grade.
Oh, you remember stuff in 5th grade? I barely remember 5th grade, man.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't really do much in fifth grade. Like
Yeah. Well, I didn't do much either,
just
but I
chilled.
remember the stationery. I don't even remember my teachers.
I used to collect erasers, like food shaped erasers and animal shaped.
Oh yeah, the fruit-shaped ones, the ones that smell good.
Oh
my God. That's like, I don't know. There should be bans on those. That's like a illicit drug or something. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, you got kids sitting in math class going like this.
Really? Yeah. Like we
It's
used
so
to have
ridiculous.
this, yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Hold on, do you like my handwriting, son?
You can write Korean? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay. It's not bad. It's not bad.
This looks like the Loch Ness monster. bro.
It's like,
a Loch Ness.
Ironically, it says yu'allimu, he teaches. Anyway, it's a struggle for you. Yujahidu. Anyhow, does this observation make sense? This observation, like the U and the E sound for these families?
Yep.
Okay. Observation number 2.
I got honey on my shirt this morning.
Observación número 2.
Got honey on it.
Okay.
Oh.
In these all ism fa'ils, in all the big 8 families, have mu beginning and I. Now I'm making things easier now. I means what? Ain means what?
Ain?
Second last letter.
Second last letter, yeah.
Ain means the second last letter.
Okay, yeah.
And I put I because all of them have muslimun, mujahidun,
You done, yeah.
muallimun, right? So we can write those 3 words. Again, you can write them in Arabic if you think you can read it later. If you can't read it later, you can write it in English. It's okay. Muallim, Muslim, and Mujahid, right? And all of them have that mu beginning. Mu, and mu, and then the I. The I means the Ain letter, second last letter. Muallim, Muslim, and Mujahid. And actually, this will work with all the families. It will also work with, muta'allimun and mutasa'ilun, right? So they also have the mu. Pretty cool. Mu. And then the li. And then the E over here.
Mine actually came out pretty good. Not even gonna lie.
Same thing again, over and over again. Muta'allim and mutasa'il. Now, some students might ask, why aren't you adding the un? The un and in is the status. That has nothing to do with sarf. Sarf
Yeah.
is about the rest of the word. Did miss something. It's ironic that Muwala wa Hajj said did miss something because that sentence is missing something.
That's funny. Kind of. My handwriting's not even that bad. Not even on cap. I should sell this artwork.
Where were the small the small families are going to come in the next intensive. I'm not forcing those on you yet. Yeah, so the Ain letter means the second letter, the second last letter. In every family, the Ain letter is usually right before the end. Does this observation make sense? All the ism fa'ils have the same situation? No, it doesn't make sense? Okay, let me try and explain again. Well, some people said no, so it's okay. So now, let me add something to this. The ism fa'il is made by taking the ya from the present tense and putting mu there instead.
Oh, can I go back upstairs? Yeah.
Yeah, I can walk upstairs.
So funny, man.
Who you calling man? Huh? I'm a stud.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Your generation says man.
Wait, hold on. Which one am I on? I'm on. I can't even read my handwriting. No, I'm joking. Which
Where
one?
are you? Number 2?
Yeah, I'm on number 2.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Are you
You want me
ready?
to go take a nap and come back? Or do some number 2? Hurry up! Hurry up!
Oh, wait, what? I wrote.
Oh, I didn't even write.
Wait, hold on.
She
Yeah.
doesn't understand. I can
You did it
tell.
right. Mus
Oh.
harakas. Muslimun.
Oh.
Mujahidun. You're done.
Oh, okay. I got so confused. Okay, yeah.
And then wait.
You're just gonna shame on my handwriting with your good
Muta'allim.
handwriting.
It's not that good, but okay. Muta'allimun.
It's not bad. Mine is
Better than yours.
Maryam.
so mean.
Yes. What?
She jinxed herself. Her handwriting came out bad.
Oh.
She said my handwriting's bad.
No, I accidentally put past instead of present.
Oh.
With pen.
That's okay. It's in the past.
You're so funny.
Dad jokes.
That's a dad joke?
Yeah. Next, we're going to learn about the forbidden fail. No, forbidden.
Oh, yeah, Biden's our new president.
For Biden. Commanding is this. For Biden is this.
Yes.
Casual, mother. Really? Casual.
Lame jokes. Aisha. Lame jokes.
Bro, I messed up because of you.
But is that a wow or an ayn?
Okay. That's a ayn. Okay? A wow can't be connected.
Yeah.
So that's how I knew. Otherwise, it was ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. I just watched a documentary about an ancient tomb in Egypt. But yes, that does look like, somebody who died a long time ago in a cavern in Egypt.
No, I'm good, sad. Don't tell me what to
Yeah,
do.
Melody.
3. You know mom and dad are watching too, right?
Okay. The ism fa'il. What's the ism fa'il? The ism that the person who does something.
Yeah.
Yeah? The submitter, the asker, the learner, the struggler, the
The
guy. Yeah, the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They always have a mu and a e. So Muslim, Mujahid, etc., etc. And how are they made? They're made using the present tense from that line. But note of caution in number 3. In yata'allamu and yatasa'alu, make sure to do mu in the beginning and I also. Mu and I. What does that mean? Mu in the beginning. I means second last letter should be E. Because if you just take the present tense yatasa'alu and then you put mu in the beginning, then you'll get mutasa'alun, and that's not an ism fa'il. An ism fa'il is an observation number 2, has to be mu and E. So you have to go a little bit out of your way for these two families and make one more change. Make sure yatasa'alu becomes mutasa'ilun, not just mutasa'alun. So for those two families, you gotta be careful and not just say, oh, I just looked at the present tense yatasa'alu and I made the ism fa'il mutasa'alun. You did not make the ism fa'il. That would be an ism maf'ul, which will come later on. The ism fa'il will have to be mu sound and e sound. Literally mu'i. I like to call it mu and i because i reminds you that the e sound goes on the ain letter. Okay?
My handwriting is getting better.
Alhamdulillah. You'll need more paper.
Yeah, right.
How many are there total?
Oh, it is spelled wrong. Yasta'alu. I think I wrote it in Saraiki or something.
Saraiki. What's Saraiki?
It's a local language in Pakistan.
You have to.
Alright,
Spelling wrong. That's funny. Spelling wrong. You're gonna. Okay.
Bam.
Yeah, I wrote it. Tasa'alu where? Show me. Huh? Prove it. I'll tell you the prove it story.
Okay.
Somebody remind me while you guys are writing this down.
Okay.
But you better keep writing.
Okay.
Okay. So when I was in college in 1875, we had some guys that were really interested in doing da'wah, right?
Yes.
To non-Muslims. But they were interested in doing da'wah to Muslims too. Their whole thing was they were rationalists. So they said you have to prove the existence of God. You have to prove that God exists by argument,
Yes.
right? And even Muslims, even if they believe in Allah, they have to argue and prove to themselves that Allah exists, right? And so these guys, anytime anybody would come into the MSA room, they're like, brother, I want to make sure your aqidah is sound and is based on rational evidence. So I want to prove to you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists. Can you prove it? I was like, why do I need to prove it? And then they start arguing, what if God doesn't exist, this and that? And they have this whole debate, right? Because they want to make sure that every Muslim can debate and prove that God exists, right? So this one guy had just come from Pakistan, right? And he was from Sindh. He was a really cool guy. He had one of those epic Pakistani mustaches. It was like one of those mustaches, like, those like mustaches.
Yeah.
And he had those kufis. You seen those kufis that are like open in the front and they got mirrors on them?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right? So he had one of those kufis. He used to wear that to school, to college.
Yeah.
Right? So he comes into the MSA room and he's like barely speaks any English right now. And he comes in and I just finished praying and the rational, like, prove the existence of God guy is sitting there on the side. And this guy walks in. He goes, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The guy's like, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Brother, I need to talk to you. And I was like, what? He's like, what? And he said, can you prove the existence of God? Can you prove the existence of God? He goes, what? I just came for Zohar Salat, man. So he starts praying his prayer, right? And the guy's just patiently waiting because he's going to prove the existence of God to him later on. Because he's not a true believer if he can't prove the existence of God, right? Prove it. So the guy came, brother, before you go, okay, it's really important. Can you prove the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Can you prove it? And the guy looked at him, he goes, you prove it. And he left. And that became a thing that I said to my friends for that entire year. Anytime we went somewhere, hey bro, you want to go eat some pizza? You prove it.
Your friends must look
The rationalist guy, anytime we saw him, I was like, hey, prove it.
That guy must have been mad.
That's so good. That's the best proof I ever seen. Anyway, fun times in college. Hopefully that guy's not watching and making like this guy. Oh, I was gonna learn Arabic from him, but now I have rational reasons not to. Anyhow, next observation. Time to write notes. The past passive, which is the first word in line 2, is always dominated by u and a. You just say u and a. And you know that the u, there could be more than one u. So I'm putting a little star next to u, right? As many u's as necessary.
U and E.
Sorry, that's what I said. U-E. Pay attention. U-E. So, us, lima, ul, lima, ju, hida, tu'ul, lima, tusu, ila.
U and E.
The last letter,
Wait, why'd you put I instead of E?
U-E.
Yeah, but shouldn't it be an E?
The letter E?
Yeah, because it makes the E sound.
The letter E does not make the E sound. When you say B-E-T, do you say bit or bet?
B-E-T, bet.
So you didn't make the E sound.
Oh, okay.
But if you say B-I-T,
Bite.
B-I-T.
Oh, bit.
Yes. Didn't you make the E sound?
Oh yeah, I guess yes.
That's right.
Yes.
The last letter
So much grammar.
stays because it's not part because it's based on page 33 from our original notes. Because that's what's going to change. Huwa uslima, huma uslima, hum muslimu, hiya uslimat. We memorize that. That's where that's going to come from.
I thought the construction people don't work on Sundays.
That is for all families. Yeah, they were building the elevator shaft, right?
Uh-huh.
And they did measurements 5 times and they got it right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the elevator people finally came with all that equipment that's there in the hallway.
Okay.
And then they said the measurements are wrong. We gave you the wrong plans. Sorry. So now they're working around the clock to fix the elevator shaft so that they can get, that's what it is.
Inconvenient.
Okay. So the last letter, because it's based on page 33. Does that make sense to everybody?
What's page 33?
Huwa nasarahum wa nasarahum nasaru. If you don't know what page 33 is, where have you been? Intensive 1 and intensive 2, perhaps?
Yeah, 1 and 2. Yeah.
Day 7 onwards? Day 8 onwards?
Oh, you got a pencil?
Yeah, Fahad.
Yeah,
Okay.
give me another.
Kaghaz, paper.
Yes,
What the word?
I did.
Probably Farsi.
No.
Don't write?
Okay.
You want to make it smaller so it's easier for you to see? Is that better? Does that feel good?
I can't even see anything. I just see white.
You
I mean, I can see it now.
Yeah?
I can
You can still see? You
Yeah,
still
I have
Does that feel
20/20
good?
vision.
Okay. 20/20 vision. Get cheche. Okay. Questions about what I've written so far?
Somebody asked if all families are passive.
I don't know what that question means. How can all families be? Do all families have passive? Not are all families passive? Because there's an active line, and then there's a passive line. So if there's an active line, why would I call that passive? I can only call the passive line passive. Now, if the question is, do all families have a passive version? No, there are 2 families that don't. We haven't come across them yet. 2 families, it's impossible. And we'll come and discuss active and passive again, so it all makes sense. But right now, it's just get to know the families. Okay? Questions about what I've written so far, though?
Yeah, a request to go over number 3 again.
Sure. The number 3 is the ism fa'il is made by taking the ya from the present tense and putting the mu there instead. So let me show you. The present tenses we've learned so far are aslama yuslimu, allama yuallimu, jahada yujahidu, ta'allama yata'allamu, and tasa'ala yatasa'alu. Those are the present tenses that we have learned so far.
Mm-hmm.
In point number 3, what I'm saying is, if you guys know the present tenses, then you can make the ism fa'il pretty straightforward. Muslimun, muallimun, mujahidun, muta'allimun, and then mutasa'ilun. Okay? So what did I do? I took the you and put a mu there instead, right?
Yeah.
That's what I said here. The ism fa'il is made by taking the ya from the present tense and putting a mu there instead. So what did I do? I took the ya and put a mu there instead. You, mu. You, mu. Ya, mu. Ya, mu. It's always mu. It's not ma. It's always mu, right? And then the other thing is, though, in these 3 families, you were done. The moment you put mu, you were done.
Yeah.
Yuslimu, muslimun, yuallimu, muallimun, yujahidu, mujahidun. But in these 2 families, you got to do one extra thing. Careful. It's not just yata'allamu, muta'allamun. What did I make it? Muta'allimun. Because in number 2, an ism fa'il wants the mu beginning and the i.
Yes.
So this one didn't have a I, so we've got to put a I there. Muta'allimun mutasa'ilun. That's what I mean by number 3. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah. Can you go scroll down a second?
Yeah, I can.
Thank you.
Taiba, right now in your world, there's only 8 families. Don't worry about it. If I told you there are 37 families, how will your life change, Taiba? It will not. How will this class change? It will not. How will next week change? It will not. So chill out.
Cool, you being dude or ma'am. Relax, dude. Take a chill pill.
That's what Miss Watermelon.
Again, please, number 3. Again, number 3?
Yes,
Really?
you
Okay.
getting mad ones, right?
All right.
I said take a chill pill.
You wanted
She
me
got
to
so
show you or
mad.
explain it again?
No. Are you done? Oh my god. I can't even.
Okay, highlight the sounds in number 4. Okay. Let me make this
Seizure out
bigger.
here.
Number 3, I think I explained pretty decently. You guys should go through the recording again to get number 3 again. But let's move on to number 4. Us lima ul lima ju hida tu'ul lima. Actually, I should just, they're all together, so I should just do it like that. Tusu ila.
So, weren't you gonna test us on page 18?
You did it on paper.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah. Try to catch it.
What?
Look,
Where?
you creased it.
Okay, now the
Stop
present
it.
passive in all the families
Oh, we're supposed
is,
to write this?
yes, of course, is dominated by the u-a sounds.
Yes.
And I'm going to put a star next to a because there could be more than one a. So it will be yuslamu, yu'allamu, yujahadu, yuta'allamu, yutasa'alu. Notice all of them have the same thing. U and a. Yuslamu. Yu'allamu. Some of you are used to going to class and taking notes because you're going to be tested on those notes. These are not notes that you will be tested on. These are notes to help you understand what you're memorizing better. They are just tips and observations to make your life easier. That's why I'm giving you these notes. Are you guys clear about that?
Yes.
Okay. This is a good program. Can we like? Yes, you can like.
Like, share, comment, subscribe down below.
Yeah. You can just say u and I. Here you can replace this with I. Is dominated, the number 4, you can say it's dominated by the u, and it keeps going over there. So let me just make it a new line. U and I. A means the second last letter has to have kasra. And the same thing here. U and a sounds. It's more than just a, but it's okay to write that. The ism maf'ul is a copy of number 6. except with a mu and a tanween at the end. What do I mean? What was number 6? Yuslamu, yu'allamu, yujahadu, yuta'allamu, yutasa'alu. What's the ism maf'ul? No. Look at it. It's a copy of this. This doesn't say yuslimu.
Oh, Yuslamu.
So,
Yuslamu.
look, read number 7.
Number 7?
The ism
This
maf'ul is a copy of number 6.
6.
This is number 6.
6, yeah.
Okay? With a what?
Mu.
With a mu instead of the ya.
Yeah.
So I'll add that since that wasn't clear. Instead of ya. Okay, so now do it. Mu instead of ya and a tanween at the end. So how do you say this?
Muslamun.
That's why you shouldn't have said muslimun. You get it?
Yeah.
Now?
Mu'allamun.
Yeah.
Mujahadun.
Yeah.
Muta'allamun.
Yes.
Mutasa'alun.
Bam.
Bam, bam. Bam. Boom, boom.
Can I please increase the font size? Sure. I can make it so big. Your screen will crack. Here.
Yu'allamu. And then I'm almost done.
No, if you're absolutely sure that you're done with the memorization, then you don't need the notes. But I don't see any reason why the notes should confuse you. So there's something wrong if the notes are confusing you. Ignorance is never bliss.
What?
Never mind.
Okay. You have such a high vocabulary of Arabic, you know. It confuses me sometimes. It's odd.
I didn't say something in Arabic.
No, your wisdom is too much for me. Like,
Thank you, Chemi Chim Chim, but we're studying self right now.
wait, that's 5.
Did number 5 become number 6? Did something happen? Yeah, I suppose I.
Did I write the wrong one for it?
I was confused.
Was the numbering went off?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay,
'cause
so let's go over it
for
again.
number 5.
Number 1, you've got the present tense starts with you and has an E sound on the Ain letter and the second last letter.
Mhm.
Number 2 is
It's
all
numbers
this.
4 and 5 that got combined because you pressed enter on the ayn.
Oh.
No. No, don't tell me I messed up.
You can just click. You can just click after the ayn and hit delete, and that'll fix it.
Ustad Jawad, the tech whiz.
Yeah, okay.
You just,
Sorry about. So this should be number 5.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, this is better. Yes, there we go. Thank you, Ustad.
Thank you, Jawad.
Thank you, Jawad. Ustad Jawad.
That's better.
Astaghfirullah. I said,
Ism maf'ul is a copy of number 5, except with the mu. We did that. Okay, so ism maf'ul is that. Let's talk about commands. Aslama, jahada, and allama families can be made quickly by using the past tense and ending it with sukoon and changing the a. What does a mean? The second last letter
yeah, second.
to I. Okay, so aslama becomes aslim.
Mhm.
Jahada becomes
Yeah.
jahid. Allama becomes علم أسلم أسلم جاهد جاهد علم جاهد علم علم. There we go. Does that make sense, everybody? Oh, because you don't want to write it? No, Farzana, you're going to write it because I need you to hurt writing it because that's how qayyidul ilm.
Yeah, I know what that word
You
means.
imprison knowledge by writing. And what I did mention, Tanween, you can mention it. The Arabic Saudi 101 keyboard, buddy. Jawaria, no to what? Why are you saying no? Why are you having a spaz? Okay, right. Right. Let it hurt.
My hand
Good
is
for you. Sometimes it's good to write.
Yeah, but in school it's really not that good.
I know.
What was your least favorite thing about school, Stud? Q&A time.
My least favorite thing about school?
Yeah,
Chemistry.
chemistry. Why chemistry?
I don't know. It just gave me a bad reaction.
Is that a
Ouch.
joke?
Huh?
Why'd you just look at me?
I was never in the element,
You were never.
in my element when it came.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those dad jokes aside, we
Yeah.
gotta tone those down and give the actual
Yeah.
jokes. You know what I didn't like? Math. My teacher.
Oh, I love math.
Math. Like the only reason why I didn't is because like my teacher wasn't teaching me correctly. Like she wouldn't really help me that much.
Did you ask for help?
No. I was figured like she was gonna help and like see my.
You know, the thing you should know is that I come from a different generation. I'm an old man, so I come
Not
from a generation where
that old.
teachers were just not criticized. Even if they were not a good teacher, they were just not criticized.
Yeah, because
No, not just because of the hitting. It's just a respect for teachers. They're giving me knowledge, so I'm going to have respect. And then the other thing that we were told was, that I tell my students at least, is you should have no fear of a teacher.
yeah,
You should know that a teacher is there, just like your parents are there, to feed your bodies. They give you food, they give you clothes, they give you home, right? That's what your
Yeah.
parents do for you.
Mhm.
Your teachers are there to feed your mind.
yeah,
And you have to come to them with a hungry mind. And you have to
Yeah.
ask.
yeah,
Sometimes they'll say, this is not good. This question is not good for you. Just like some food is not good for you.
yeah,
So teachers will say,
Yeah.
not yet. You can't eat that yet. Eat this right now. Feed your mind this right now. That's what I do, right?
Yeah.
As a teacher.
uh-huh,
But if you can't expect the teacher to know if you're confused until you go out and ask. And you can't be ashamed of that. You can't
Yeah.
hesitate. You have to let hesitation go. You just have to ask. And it's okay if anybody else sees you as, wow, you still don't understand that? Yeah, it's okay. You ask. Somebody can ask right now, what's an ism fa'il? We already talked about ism fa'il. We spent some time talking about ism fa'il. If you don't know that, that means you missed a session, and that's okay. Now you know you have to go back to a previous session.
Shout
But
out
if you
to
never
my-
asked, then you would never know.
Shout out to my favorite teacher, Miss Waterman. Like she was such a nice teacher. Like honestly- no, school wise, not Arabic wise.
What is this, the village? This is not a school.
No,
I got books.
yeah, but like school is like
School.
yeah, school.
Government institution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like by far, top 3 wasn't. She was one of them, and then you're my favorite because like you actually give us like breaks and let us play stuff.
Osman, go stand in the corner and face the wall. She just asked, what's an ism? Okay. Is number 7 clear to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 8, for for the تعلم and تساءل families. Oops. For the تعلم and تساءل families, the command can be quickly made by simply changing the past tense to a sukoon ending. تعلم becomes تعلم, and تساءل becomes تساءل. What is a and I? Well, a and I, whenever I say a, I mean the second last letter, because the first letter, the code for the first letter is fa. The code for the second letter, or you can call it the second last letter, is ain. And the code for the last letter is lam. So the three root letters are called the fa letter, the ain letter, and the lam letter.
Yeah.
So in aslama, sin would be the fa letter, lam would be the ain letter, mim would be the lam letter. So the ain, when I say a, I mean the la. And when I say it becomes I mean li, aslim. Jahada, the ha was the ain letter, and it became he. So a became I. That's what it means. Just like in algebra, the value of x.
I feel like you would be like a great tutor, for math homework.
I actually used to tutor math in high school.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Did you make friends or
No, I was a nerd.
you were?
I only got people who were failing and then threatened to hurt me.
Really?
Yeah, some people told me to take their test for them and stuff. And
How do you take somebody's test for them?
yeah, he had a whole plan. I was like, it would be easier for you to just start study this. That would be easier. High school is weird.
It is?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm 2 years away from it.
I don't know. It's just people use such bad words all
They
the time.
do. Yes.
And they use so much it starts becoming normal to you. It's not normal. Okay. I have a question, Ustad. The Quran says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh my God. Allah taught the. Wait. I need that one. Where's that one? That was therapeutic.
I pinned it.
Okay. I have a question, Ustad. The Quran says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam all the ism. Does that mean the names of things also includes adjectives, adverbs, and such? Okay. First of all, we're learning ism, fi'l, harf, and grammar. And the word ism existed in Arabic before grammar was codified.
Yeah.
And fi'l existed in Arabic. Fi'l just meant an action. And before grammar was codified. And the word mudaf and mudaf ilayh, these things existed before grammar came along. So the word ism in Quran is not the word ism that you're studying: person, place, thing, idea, adjective, adverb, and more.
Yeah.
Ism in classical Arabic, not the grammar meaning, but the jithr meaning, the original root letter meaning, is actually qualities. It means qualities. Adam alayhi salam was taught the qualities, all of them. And actually that can refer to, he was not just taught that's a stone, that's a rock, that's a tree, and that's a bird, but the qualities of them or how to manipulate them. So that can be understood because Allah's qualities are called his asma, his quality of being knowledgeable, his quality of being his characteristic of being wise, his characteristic of being the creator. Those are called his asma. So we translate that as names, but it's actually qualities, because the word ism is related to the word wasam in Arabic, and wasam means marking or quality or distinctive feature. It's a long discussion on the side, but yeah, don't confuse the words in Quran with grammar labels. They can share the same word because fi'l will come in the Quran. Anta fa'alta hadha? Did you verb this? That's not what that means. Did you do this? Right? So fi'l is just In grammar, we call this something else.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another interesting example of that is harf.
Yeah.
Harf in when you're learning tajweed, harf means a letter of the alphabet. Okay. So alif is a harf, ba is a harf, ta is a harf, tha is a harf, jim is a harf, right? These are the huruf, huruf al-tahajji, right?
Yeah.
Or al-huruf al-hijaiyya. When you're studying grammar, harf means what? Harf could mean a preposition like harf of jar, harf of nasab. They're not just one letter, they're words.
Yeah.
Right? And the light harf and the lightest harf, they're called harf too. So in the world of tajweed, a harf is something else.
Yeah.
And in the world of grammar, it's something else. And in tajweed, you'll say this is your sheikh was this kha is a heavy harf.
Yeah.
Ba is light harf.
Mm.
So you don't say ba, you say ba.
Yeah.
You don't say qa, you say qa, qaf heavy.
Yeah.
But zakaf light ka. Right?
Yeah.
So they say light and heavy, but they're not talking about what we say when we say light and heavy, because they're using the words light and heavy for the huruf in the world of tajweed. But the same the harf, when it come in the world of grammar means something else, and then the word harf in the Quran means something else, because that's the old Arabic usage. Man ya'budullaha ala harfin. Harf actually means the edge of a cliff, originally.
You
Right?
spelled by wrong.
What I said?
By. Simply by.
I didn't say by. What are you talking about? So harf means edge of a cliff. So when it says وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ, among the people there's someone who worships Allah on harf. That doesn't mean worships Allah on a letter or on a harf of jar. It means on the edge, on an edge, meaning they're kind of dangling with their faith. They could fall off their faith any moment. So that's, totally different word. Good tangent.
Have very good grammar.
Ustad, how can we reliably know what the fa, ayn, and lam letters are?
That's why you're learning the families. So how can you tell? Well, in aslama, the a is not part of the fa, ayn, lam. In jahada, the middle alif is not part of the fa, ayn, and lam. In allama, it's all of them are fa, ayn, lam, and the ayn has a shadda. In tasa'ala, the ta and the alif are not, but the sa'ala is. In ta'allama, the ta is extra, and the allama is fa, ayn, and lam. So in each family, something else has been added, and 3 letters remain, the fa, ayn, and lam. So you have to get used to what's being added. The ta and alif is being added in tasa'ala. The ta and shadda is being added in ta'allama. That's how you will know what the root letters. When you get good at families, you can look at a giant word and tell, oh, these 3 letters. Those are the letters. That's the material. And that was poured into this shape, meaning this family. Okay. Now let's move on to forbidding.
Yes.
Quick way to make forbidding fi'l for aslama, jahada, and allama is to take the command and add to. So let's look at that. Aslim la tuslim.
Oh, my hand's getting numb.
Jahid la tujahid. Allim la tuallim.
How many? Oh.
One last one.
Okay, one last one.
I won't do about dharf. You should already know dharf is the same as ism maf'ul. And quick way to make forbidding for ta'allama, tasa'ala is to take command and add an extra ta. Ta'allam becomes la tata'allam, and tasa'al becomes la tatasa'al. You guys are gonna love me for this and hate me at the same time. I'm gonna make a PDF of this and put it up.
So.
But I made you write it, right?
Yeah.
It hurt, right?
Uh-huh.
Because I want you to go through the pain of writing it. Because once you have a PDF, you know what happens? Let me show you what happens.
I mean,
Let
we
me
could
show
have just
you.
printed it.
What happens? Oh, alhamdulillah, the PDF is downloaded. I feel good now. It's not in your brain, and you're not going to read it. So you just have the collection of collected PDFs that you don't open up, because I know you. So I made you write it down because you spent time hurting yourself doing this. Now you can have the PDF because your handwriting's hideous, and you can never read it again. You're never going to read that again. I know this. The purpose of it wasn't so it's recorded in your notes, except for the three. I'm not talking to the women in the audience. I'm only talking to the men.
Okay.
The men write like they are trying to leave like a mass murderer note that investigators won't be able to solve. Right? That's how men take notes. Women write like color coded, and they put like little twingy thingies around it, and like post some of your notes. Ladies, can you post some of your notes in the comments? I want to see how neatly you write. And then guys, just show me some of your proud work. Really, like show me what it looks like, because I know how I take notes. Nobody can make sense of my notes. They're hideous. Allah created men not to take notes or something. I don't know. Something happened.
Yeah.
Right? But I wanted you to go through this exercise because it forces you to spend time thinking about this. I can teach it, move on, but I need you to spend time thinking about this. Okay? And this will help your memorization of those, those families. So I'm not going to review memorizing families today because
Oh, I thought you were going to give us the other three families.
I'm going to give you the other three families. Finish writing this, and I will give you guys a 10-minute break.
Okay.
Man, it's already 11 o'clock. Time flies.
Yeah,
I'll give you guys an 8-minute break, and then I'm going to teach you three families.
Okay. My shoulder's like halfway broken. So.
We might have a little bit extra time today. I might take 20 extra minutes today from you guys.
Ustad, you got outsmarted. Someone said I knew you would do this, so I didn't write notes.
Wow.
Well, it's your loss. Okay. Now I won't send the PDF.
Ooh.
No, you know what?
Burn.
You just hurt the entire ummah.
Yeah. Thanks.
What happened?
Thank you.
What
thanks
happened?
to you.
You don't have to, Najira, you don't have to remember anything. This is just in case you're having trouble understanding how the conversions happen.
I don't know.
Okay, if you memorize it rhythmically, good for you.
For me? No, Farah.
Right then. Don't tell me to rush.
I'm not telling you to rush. I'm telling you to
I love the righteous screen names y'all have, like the only true light.
Yeah.
What made you, like, what went on in your head when you decided to?
Yeah, I feel I see some people's like usernames on YouTube, and it's like,
No, I'm not going to explain Barakallahu li wa lakum yet.
only one Allah or something.
He's a merciful soldier too.
Oh yeah, merciful
There's
soldier.
a channel on merciful soldier.
Okay, now take your break, and we got to come back and do a new family. If you guys want to read ahead,
Mhm.
I'm going to make a new file because I'm going to save this one later.
Not finished.
It's okay if you didn't finish. It is what it is now.
It is what it is.
Go, take a break.
It's
I'm muting myself.
ease.
I'm going to write something.
Oh, my arm.
Jawad, you can answer questions in the meantime.
All right. If you really, really want to finish writing your notes, just rewind the video a little bit. You should still be able to see the screen that way, inshallah.
You can probably
Nazia,
hide my screen and show your own. Yeah.
what was that?
Probably hide my screen for now and show your own while I type this up.
Okay. All right, Nazia, tell me the name of the Arabic form for me to download. Can you clarify what you mean by Arabic form? form so I could. Nazia, I still don't understand the question. Why the allama includes 3 roots while it has double lam? Well, the lam has shadda, and I guess you could say that that's 2 lams, but we're not looking at it from that perspective. We're just looking at it from whatever root we plug into the allama family, that second letter is going to have shadda. That's how we're looking at it. So don't worry about, oh, shadda breaks down into 2 different letters. Just look at it as allama is 3 letters with a shadda on the second letter. Don't complicate it for yourself even further.
Also, I would add to that when you say that allama has a shadda, so why isn't it 4 root letters? You have to know that the shadda is not part of the root, it's part of the shape. That's the thought process. In every one of these families, there's only the letters are the only thing. The 3 letters are the only thing that are part of the root. Everything else, the haraka on them, the shadda on them, the sukoon on them, the ta before them, the alif after them, all that stuff is part of the shape. So the shapes will keep changing, but the root will stay the same. So allama, the ain la mim is the root, but the fatha on a, the shadda and the fatha on la are part of that's the shape. That's actually the shape. Okay, I'm gonna go back to writing.
So basically from the root letters, we can make isms and fi'als as well. That is correct. So we've already learned a few, we've learned 4. No, we've learned more than 4. We learned 6 fi'als, active, passive, for past and present, so that's 4, and then command and forbidding, that's 6 fi'als. And we've learned 3 isms, 4 isms, masdar, ism fa'il, ism maf'ul, and dharf. And there are more that will come down the line. But yes, fi'als and isms. We're learning how to create all of them through sarf. Ta'allama means to learn. So if you say ta'allama, it means he learned. He learned. Can I have the full tasa'ala? Yeah, sure. Tasa'ala. Here you go. What's the start date for Intensive 4? It will start on Friday, inshallah. Friday the 13th. What is the sarf of ustad? That's a good question. A good question for another time. Yes, Azwa, that's correct. Ta'allama is he learned. Will the next intensive be on YouTube? We'll see. Can I help you access the worksheets? Well, first you need a Bayna subscription. If you have the Bayna subscription, then at the top here, you want to click Study Materials right here, and that'll take you to this page. Then you want to scroll all the way down, and you have your docs here. Yes, I believe the name was Hana. Please forgive me if I have that wrong, but theoretically, if you should know your subfamilies well enough to where no matter which shape of the family you're given, you and even in that shape, like you can be given the different forms. So like I can be given the ism maf'ul, for example, and also the ism maf'ul will be in like feminine plural jar form. I should be able to take that and then produce the rest of the family from it. So for example, if I gave you muslamatun, or I said jar, muslamatin, right? If I gave you muslamatin, you should be able to take that back to first was the singular rafa version of that is muslamatun, then the masculine singular rafa version would be muslamun, and then from there you can tell that that's a ism maf'ul of the aslama family, right? Aslama yuslimu islaman fahuwa muslimun, uslima yuslamu islaman fahuwa muslamun, and then you can produce the rest from it like that. So that's the goal, right? That's how well you want to know these families. This is the last day of intensive 3. Okay, if you want to know families 5 and 6 in with fa'in and lam, family 5 ta'allama would be tafa'ala, and family 6 tasa'ala would be tafa'ala. So let me type those out actually. In fa'in lam form, this is tafa'ala. And then for the next one, tasa'ala in family in fa'in lam form, this is tafa'ala. Why is this the last day? Because we spent the first 2 days on exam review. So we've still done 10 days, but the first 2 were exam review, and then we did 8 days of sarf. What about the first family? The first family will come last, inshallah. You guys aren't asking very many sarf questions this time around. Try to keep the questions related to the topic. It doesn't matter how many times you paste the question over and over again. If it's not related, most likely I'm not going to answer it. In the current workbook, which has assignments up through day 5, you only really need to know the Aslama family to finish it. If you follow the instructions, that is. If you're doing what Ustad's telling you, then he adds some stuff sometimes. But if you're just following the instructions, then you only need to know Aslama. Mariam, I know they're not uploaded yet because I'm going to wait for Ustad to upload them, or to go over them, and then I'm going to upload them, inshallah. I didn't want to give it to you beforehand, and then somebody opens up that document and they see more than just the 5 that we've gone over, and then they confuse themselves. Just focus on memorization right now. Don't worry about exams. Don't worry about anything else. Can I explain the meaning of dharf? Dharf is the time and place of doing whatever the action is. So if I'm saying, for example, ta'allama, which means to learn, then the time or the place of learning would be a muta'allam. Walid, if you can give me an example where they look the same, then I will tell you how to distinguish. But I think you're going to have a hard time finding an example where they look similar.
Okay, I'm back. How'd it go?
Going well. A lot of non-sarf related questions.
Yeah, well, we're gonna decide what we're studying right now, aren't we? So, alhamdulillah, I'm really happy with where we are with sarf, because here's what's happening in the next intensive, guys. We're starting over. We're gonna do the families. I'll expect that you have them memorized, so we'll understand them better. This intensive was more about putting pressure on you to memorize the families. The next intensive, I'll expect that by then you'll have the families memorized. So we're going to spend a lot of time understanding what we memorized, because that's where our focus will be, and that's where the meanings behind the families, the application of the families, the recognition of the families, all of that is in the next intensive. So I'm not even in a rush to finish all the families, the mujarrad. They're called the mujarrad families. I'm right now more concerned that you make the most of what you've memorized, right? So that's going to be our next intensive starting on Friday. But anyway, I want to wrap today's work up by giving you an idea of what these next families are. This is homework for you because you are going to be memorizing over the break. So let's show them my screen, Jawad. Okay, so there are 3 families now that I'm going to teach you, okay? And each of these 3 families have something in common.
Oh, okay.
Let's look at the first word. Iqtaraba, say it.
اقترب
Inqalaba,
انقلب
istaghfara.
استغفر.
These are the E families. All 3 begin with E. Okay. Then after E, it's all fathas. Iqtaraba, inqalaba, istaghfara.
Yes,
Right?
okay.
Now, what's the difference between them? In iqtaraba, you get the fa letter,
Yeah.
the first letter, then you get a ta before you get the rest.
Yeah.
So iqtaraba, and the actual letters are actually qaf, ra, and ba. The ta is part of the shape.
Oh, okay.
Remember how in ta'allama, the ta is part of the shape, but it's in the beginning?
Yeah.
Iqtaraba, the ta is part of the shape, but it's in between the fa and the ain letter.
Okay.
So you have words like, ishtahara, or iftaqara, or irtakaza, or intashara, but that's a harder one. Intashara. Yantashiru.
Oh, ينتشر.
Yeah. Irtafa'a. Okay. Iqtaraba is actually in the Quran, wasjud waqtarib, the ayah of sajda, has waqtarib in it. That's the amr from it. So, right, that one. So iqtaraba. The ta is extra and the e is extra in the beginning. And notice the e doesn't have a hamza on it. That's really important. And the e in inqalaba doesn't have a hamza on it. And the e in istaghfara doesn't have a hamza on it. Now, why is that important? Let me tell you why. Because if I was reading this with wa, I wouldn't say wa iqtaraba. I would read waqtaraba. Why? Because the alif doesn't have hamza on it.
Yeah.
So if there's another letter coming before it, it's like I can pretend it's not even there.
Yeah.
Okay? Similarly, here it's inqalaba, but if I had a wa before it, I wouldn't say wa inqalaba, I would say
One
qalaba, right? And the same way, istaghfara, I would say
Was-
wastaghfara. wastaghfara. The E wouldn't even, though in the Quran script, the E wouldn't even have a haraka because they know that non-Arabs are reading. So they, the script, the harakat on it are taking into consideration that you don't know that the command has an E in it. So they'll just put an alif without any harakas because you're going to skip that haraka anyway, right? But I'm showing you that it's supposed to be, officially it's an E. Anyway.
Didn't we do istaghfara? Like for istaghfara, istaghfaran, fahuwa mustaghfirun.
We didn't do it. I don't know how you got it. Maybe we need to fix it a little bit, but let's see. Now, iqtaraba yaqtaribu. What is it? Yaqtaribu. What's cool about this present tense is it has an E. Ya and an E.
Yeah.
So you know the two ta families? Ta'allama yata'allamu. Everything was Tasa'ala yatasa'alu. But the E families have one E sound in the past tense in the beginning and one E sound on the ain letter in the present tense. Iqtaraba yaqtaribu. Not yaqtarabu, yaqtaribu. Yaqtaribu. Got it? Okay. Now notice, inqalaba
Qalibu.
same thing happened again. Yanqalibu. Istaghfara yastaghfiru. But let's focus on the first of these three. Iqtaraba, yaqtaribu, and the masdar again doesn't have a hamza. It's called iqtiraban. Iqtiraban. Iqtaraba, yaqtaribu, iqtiraban. Now when you make this masdar, don't say iqtaraban. Make sure you say what? Iqtiraban. اقترابا انتشارا افتقارا ارتكازا احتياطا اختيارا. There's lots and lots of these, but anyway, so اقترابا, so it's got an E, the T, and there's an alif in between too. So it's not اقترابا, اقترابا. Okay, فهو, and then the same formula that you just wrote about, you take the present tense and put a mu on it. Mu E. Well, it's already got the E, so you don't have any extra work. It's just a mu. So muqtaribun. اقترب يقترب اقترابا فهو مقترب. اقترب, the formula you learned was the past passive is oo's and e's. So uqturiba. As many oo's as you need. So this time we needed two. And the ain letter, second last letter, gets the E. So uqturiba. Yuqtarabu. U and a sounds. Yuqtarabu, like yuslamu, yu'allamu, yujahadu, yuta'allamu, yutasa'alu, and this time yuqtarabu. Masdar is still masdar, iqtiraban, fahuwa muqtarabun. Muqtarabun. Now what did we do with aslama? How do we make it a command? The shortcut was aslama becomes aslim. Jahada becomes jahid. And allama becomes allim, right? We kasrafied it. Well, same thing. Iqtaraba, the command will become, without even looking down, just look at iqtaraba and you can guess. Iqtarib. Iqtarib. And then the forbidding will be la taqtarib.
La taqtarib.
Iqtarib, la taqtarib. Al-amru minhu iqtarib, والنهي عنه لا تقترب. And what's the ظرف gonna be?
والنهي والظرف منه مقترب.
مقترب.
Yeah.
اقترب يقترب اقترابا فهو مقترب. اقترب يقترب اقترابا فهو مقترب. الأمر منه اقترب والنهي عنه لا تقترب والظرف منه مقترب. The harakat have to be perfect. And the harakat are consistent for all of them. So if you compare line 1, or especially line 2, if you compare line 2 to all the line 2s, you'll see the same sounds on all of them. Okay? Now, in this one, what's the extra letter? The ta.
Yeah.
The E in the beginning and the ta. The ta kind of sticks out. Okay? Then the fa, ain, and lam letters are qaf, ra, and ba. It's if ta'ala. It's like that. If ta'ala. Fa letter, ain letter, lam letter, with ta in the middle. If ta'ala, yafta'ilu, ifti'alan. Like that. Okay? This one, in qalaba, it's the in. It's the alif and the noon that's extra. And the ain, lam, the fa, ain, lam letters are actually together. In qalaba. So in fa'ala. In kasara. Whatever 3 letters I give you, you say in the beginning, then you add those 3 letters together. Okay? So in qalaba, yan
قلبوا
قلبوا in قلا. They always have an in the beginning,
Yeah.
right? In قلب ينقلب انقلابا فهو
منقلب.
منقلب.
Yeah.
Now it seems like I've skipped a line, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
I forgot which line. اقترب يقترب.
Yeah.
So it should have been انقلب ينقلب انقلابا فهو منقلب.
Yeah.
The epic thing about this family is that it's always intransitive.
Mm.
What that means is it never has a passive.
I love this line.
It never has a passive.
Yeah.
It's the only family of the 8 families
Mhm.
where you never get the second line.
Yeah.
So you go straight from line 1 to line 3.
Okay.
You don't even do line 2 because it'll never happen. It will never happen. In fact, the word munqalabun occurs in the Quran. بأي منقلب ينقل or في أي منقلب ينقلبون. But munqalab in that ayah is not an ism maf'ul because that would be from the second line. It's actually a dharf. It's the word for
Yeah.
time and place.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyway, al-amru minhu. What do? You take the past tense in qalaba and you kasrafy it. انقلب. انقلب لا تنقلب. انقلب والنهي عنه لا تنقلب. And dharf is basically what the ism maf'ul would have been.
Yeah.
منقلب.
Yeah. منقلب.
Okay.
Mhm.
So here the only thing is in. That's the added.
Mhm.
Okay. In.
Yeah.
Then finally, ist. This family has an ist extra.
استغفر.
Istaghfara. Yastaghfiru. The yast and the ist are added on.
Okay.
And whatever new word I give you, it'll be istakbara, yastakbiru, istikbaran. This time it's istaghfara, yastaghfiru, istighfara. Not istaghfaran, istighfaran. Fahuwa mustaghfirun. Can you see now how the ism fa'il is made? Yastaghfiru becomes mustaghfirun.
Yeah.
استغفر same UI يستغفر استغفارا فهو مستغفر. Look at the amr. Istaghfara was the past tense. What's the quickest way to make the command the amr?
استغفر.
استغفر.
Mm.
والنهي عنه لا
لا
تستغفر.
تستغفر.
استغفر لا تستغفر. والظرف منه مستغفر. Okay. Now, this is the walkthrough of the full families. In the handouts, that'll be updated. So when you go back to that same PDF, you'll see all 8 families,
Okay.
inshallah. But I want to show you something. اقترب يقترب اقترابا انقلب
انقلب.
ينقلب انقلابا استغفر يستغفر استغفارا. I'm so cool because I type so fast in Arabic. It's so cool.
Yeah, you're
It's
like,
so like a
the
beast.
coolest
And
guy
it's
I've
just
ever
so
met.
cool.
Uh-huh.
Ridiculously awesome. That's just like so humble also. Okay.
Yeah.
So look at it. E
E.
E sukun 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 a a a a a a a a ya 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 sukun 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 a I U a I U a I U e a, right?
Yeah.
E
E,
a e a. That's why they're bunched together.
That's cool.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the sound system in the iqtaraba family
Yeah.
and the inqalaba family
Yeah.
and the istaghfara family is the same sound system. Once you understand one of them, then you understand how the other ones are going to work.
Yeah.
So don't do all three at the same time. Do one at a time. Iqtaraba yaqtaribu iqtiraban fahuwa muqtaribun. My training to you is, even though I want you to memorize all 10 words, iqtaraba yaqtaribu iqtiraban fahuwa muqtaribun, uqturiba yuqtarabu iqtiraban fahuwa muqtarabun, al-amru minhu iqtarib wa nahyu anhu la taqtarib. 11 words. Wa dharfu minhu muqtarabun. There's 11 words. But if you know these 3 words, then you should be good enough to produce the other 8 words.
Yeah.
Because these words are the ones that create the other 8
Yeah.
words. And that should be the case with every family.
Mhm.
So the seeds you need to know. Aslama yuslimu islaman. علم يعلم تعليما جاهد يجاهد جهادا ومجاهدة تعلم يتعلم تعلما تساءل يتساءل تساؤلا then اقترب يقترب اقترابا انقلب ينقلب انقلابا استغفر يستغفر استغفارا. Once you know ماضي مضارع مصدر ماضي مضارع مصدر ماضي مضارع مصدر, then if you understand today's session was if you know those three, you can actually logically construct the rest.
Yeah.
And I want you not only to memorize the rest, but understand how it's logically constructed. How do you go from اقترب يقترب اقترابا فهو مقترب اقترب يقترب اقترابا فهو مقترب الأمر منه يقترب والنهي عنه لا تقترب والظرف منه مقترب. Because it's the same thing that you do in all the families, right? But the bunches are important. So the first three were bunched together. تعاول تساءل and تعلم were bunched together. And then the E families are bunched together. These are my E families. اقترب, انقلب, and استغفر. Okay, so I've explained the logic of them, but I haven't had you memorize them. That's what you're doing for me. So this is inshallah, our final attempt to transition over to the website. I think all of the glitches have been resolved. Like I said before, anybody who asked for a sponsorship, nobody has been denied. And some people said, oh, I have access to the Dream website, but I don't have access to Bayyinah TV. And I was really confused. Then I went back to my tech team and asked them, and they actually confirmed because they tested it. Anybody who has access to the Dream website has full access to Bayyinah TV. It's one profile. So nobody's been denied access. Now, we're going to transition over and we're going to have an organized system of your study resources. I'll show you what the plan is. It's not fully put in place there yet, but the developers will have it ready by Friday. I'm pretty much certain of it. You're going to see the video of the session, the live session, and the recording will stay there. Whatever that video is, let's say it's a Dream intensive, intensive for day one, right? Yeah. And right underneath it, you're going to see timestamps. And what that is some of you are actually working on timestamps, and I want to create a community effort for Dream Program. So it's not just me and Jawad and the tech team that are working on this. All of you are working on this with me. So what's happening? Some of you do work on timestamps. So Ustad made a lame joke from minute number 4 to minute number 7, but from 11 to 15, he was talking about this family, or 23 to 28, he was talking about that family, or whatever, right? So when you have those timestamps, then I'll make some of you capable of actually editing and adding to the timestamp, like a Wikipedia, so that we all have the same resource under the video. What the timestamps are, we can go to it. So you can click on timestamps and get them. Then there's going to be student notes. This is where some of you make animations. Some of you make flashcards. Some of you made, animated GIF files or GIF files to do, quizzes for the pronouns. That was brilliant. That stuff under each corresponding video should be there, so you can share and learn from each other's notes. And you can upload a PowerPoint presentation, a video, an image, a PDF file, whatever, a Word document, whatever you have that you want to share. Student notes, right? It's all going to be in one place under each session. I can't necessarily do that on YouTube, and I can't do that on Facebook, but I can do that here, right? Then there's going to be eventually our I'm sorry to call her Huda. Huda is our virtual tutor. Huda, yeah. It's, how you have like Siri? Yeah. Ours is going to be called Huda.
Huda. Oh.
Okay. So it's kind of like our Siri. Basically, you're going to ask Huda, but Huda will ask you a bunch of questions. Hey, is this Iqtaraba family? You'll say yes or no, and she'll immediately tell you, no, it's not. You got that wrong. Okay. Etc. So it's an automated exercise system that's going to be put in place. So your work will be on there too, inside the website. And of course, the study materials will be there, which, whatever part of the book or whatever PDF or whatever handouts, or if in my class I wrote some things out and I say I'm just going to make notes out of it, the teacher-driven or UJ-driven or me-driven study materials are all going to go over here, right? Or corresponding links or other things I want you to watch or something else, that's all going to go under study materials. So what I'm basically, and then of course, inshallah, a discussion board, which is basically kind of like your comments, except what I wanted in the discussion board is people can say specifically questions related to Iqtaraba, right? And you can see all the question thread on that one issue and interaction. So we can organize our interactions and by subject, because, in the comments, there's 3,000 comments, and you may have asked redundant questions, or somebody asked about something from 10 days ago. But this way we can organize our discussions by the topic we're dealing with, because as you can tell, the subject matter is getting deeper
Mhm.
right? So there's lots and lots of subjects now,
Yeah.
and we can't keep up as students and teachers. We can't keep up if we don't organize our conversations,
Mhm.
right? So all of this is an effort to organize our conversations, and I'm probably going to add a section for international. And what I mean by that is some of you want to translate this into Turkish, some of you want to do this in Bangla, some of you in Farsi, or whatever else. Then if you've done some work, you can post it here. Other people we can organize it by language section. Other people can come in and say, hey, I'm working on French too. You take on video 2, I'll take on video 3, or we can collaborate. So those of you that are from different backgrounds and want to work with each other on translation, because you want to produce this and then start teaching it to your family or your community or whatever, then you have a place to collaborate also. So what this does, guys, is it's planting the seeds for a pretty revolutionary effort down the road. I want you to think about what happens 3 years from now when all of this is compiled, right? Where are we going to be, and what's, inshallah ta'ala, what's the vision behind all of this? It sounds like pie in the sky right now, but I'm going to just share with you what I have in mind as far as dream is concerned. My goal is, one, to have you master this material, right? But this material and this curriculum is two things. It's the way that it's organized, and it's the method with which I teach it. So there's two different, and I can hand you the curriculum, but if you don't understand, how did I talk to you about shapes, or how did I introduce rafa' nasab and jar, right? The how. These recordings are important because they capture the how. A textbook and a syllabus and a curriculum will not capture the how. It will only capture the what. What did he teach first? He taught 4 properties of the ism, but how did he teach it? Okay, the status, number, gender, and type. But how did he introduce status? Or how did he introduce mudaf and mudaf ilayh? Or how did he introduce the families? Or how did we get from one family to all these families? What did he do when he introduced ism maf'ul or ism fa'il? Each one of those was a strategy, right? So the videos are there to, inshallah, permanently record the strategy. And then these study materials will permanently record and meticulously organize the curriculum. So that one of you, when they decide to teach this in Farsi one day, and somebody else decides to teach it in Swahili one day, or in Afrikaans one day, then they can go back and watch the videos, not just for the materials, but also, hey, how did Ustad teach, this family or this structure? Once that becomes a standard, then what I plan to put in place is a certification. Not yet. Don't get excited. I plan to put together a certification. What that means is, globally, anybody can take a test and say, I want to prove myself as a Bayyinah certified teacher. That doesn't mean you work for Bayyinah, by the way. That just means you're Bayyinah certified. What that means is, I can demonstrate that I know the teaching method, and I can demonstrate that I know the material. And once that happens, inshallah, my intention is to create a new credential. And the credential is, you're a Bayyinah certified teacher if you can prove yourself by way of testing, right? That you can teach and you can demonstrate know-how of the entire curriculum. Now that you're Bayyinah certified, I want so many of you out there to have Bayyinah certification that it's happening in virtually every language. And you know how right now when we think about tape, we say Scotch tape, right? But Scotch is actually not. Scotch is a brand. It's so it's clear tape, but we call it Scotch tape because Scotch was so successful at proliferating their brand that now we just call it Scotch tape, right? So the same thing happens in America, for example. If somebody needs, ibuprofen or something, they don't say ibuprofen. They say, you have a Tylenol, right? So what happened? Tylenol got associated with headaches, even though that's just a brand. It's not the medicine itself, right? The same way, my vision is, with you guys' help and with you guys' effort, that Bayyinah certification becomes a worldwide phenomenon. And my goal is actually to not have a fee associated with it at all. You'll take the test for free, you'll get certified for free. It's not about cost. It's about spreading something and creating a standard around the world on how the language of the Quran can be taught. If you guys can get, inshallah, my confidence is you guys can get revolutionary results in a year. I believe so. I have full confidence in myself, and I have optimism with Allah Azza wa Jal that within a year, we're going to have some revolutionary results with this group. And if we can replicate that for schools, Hifz programs, homeschooling moms. If somebody is in a place where there's one of you that's a mom and you're a single mom or you're a widow or whatever, and you're struggling to make ends meet, and now you have a Bayyinah certification, maybe you can teach other moms in the community for a small fee and start making a living for yourself, doing something meaningful without having to leave home. We can start creating an education industry around the teaching of the Quran and a new kind of certification. And then eventually my hope is that there are madaris, there are kids that are memorizing Quran all over the world, right? But in the vast majority of them, they don't speak any Arabic, or they don't know any Arabic. They don't know the Arabic of the Quran. Well, you know what? Some of those Hifz teachers or some of those kids can actually become Bayyinah certified teachers. And they can start volunteering and teaching a little bit of this stuff during the Hifz program, right? And so by the time these kids are graduating, having memorized the Quran, ready to lead Taraweeh and prayers, they can actually understand what Allah is telling them. So we can actually bring about really a Quran awareness revolution around the world. The number of you that are a part of this right now is mind-blowing. So don't just think of this as something you're doing for yourself, and of course you are, but let me, if you allow me, let me be the guy that helps craft a vision that all of us can be a part of, that all of us can, inshallah, partake in. But part of that is coming onto the website. That's why I don't care if you can afford it or not. Just get the sponsorship, get in. Because I want this to be populated properly. It's part of a much larger plan, right? And inshallah, when that's in place, I can step back and say, you know what, alhamdulillah, okay, at least the Arabic work is done with. And what's going to happen is some of you will become spectacular teachers. You'll gain experience. You'll show me your work. And what I plan on doing, inshallah, when COVID is over, those of you that are doing the work, you're running a class, you're teaching in a village, I'm going to come visit you. I'm going to come spend time with you. And I'm going to, see what you guys are doing and give you advice, tips, whatever. And some of you will do better than, many of you will do better than I'm doing. You'll revolutionize this even further. I can see the creative potential in some of you. It's incredible. And some of you don't believe in yourself enough yet. That's a problem. Because the fact that Allah made you open up the opportunity of time and effort and opened up your brain to understand some of this stuff and struggle with it means Allah has a purpose for you. So stop doubting yourself. You have a purpose. And I believe what better purpose than to have something to do with spreading Quran further in the world and making the Quran's relationship with the Muslims deeper than it is now. Like we already believe in the Quran, let's deepen and make that relationship, more profound for ourselves, deeper for ourselves, right? I was giving khutbah, last khutbah I gave, those of you that were watching, I started talking about a pronoun and ka, and it means you, and kum means all of you. And I saw Ahmed going like this, and I'm sure some of you are like, hey, that's and those moments means you're getting it. It's happening. I did that for you specifically, actually. Right? It's happening. It hasn't been a long time. You're like, oh my God, we did 3 intensive. You know what that means? 30 days. 30 days? How many times have you and I spent 30 days and we are no different? Where were you before these 30 days we spent together? Not lost, but where were you in? Can you even imagine where we are now, the kinds of conversations we're having now? I made you feel like that. I made you realize that at the end of the first intensive, the second intensive. Now we're 3 intensives in. You're far too invested in this to walk away from it now. Sorry, you've been recruited. You're part of the Arabic worldwide Quran. Let's return back to the Quran revolution cult.
You swam halfway across the ocean. Don't swim back.
Woo! See, forward. Honorary member right here. So that's the long-term vision. And me encouraging you guys to sign up on the site is actually part of that long-term vision. I want you to understand that, because all of this stuff needs to be organized. We have tremendous power in numbers, tremendous power. And I'm already talking to some people to help me organize logistics around, inshallah, when COVID is, more settled and things are a little bit safer for travel and other things, that I plan on visiting many of your communities. I get your emails. I see some of the pictures of your kids and, memorizing. I'm going to have some dinner with you guys. I'm going to come. I'll come. Because to me, that is encouragement. When I can show you where you started and what you're doing, then a million other people will look at that and say, hey, they did it. I could do it too. Look at what they're doing. Look at what their family is doing. Look at, they know all the pronouns. I don't know what a pronoun is. I wouldn't know what the pronouns are.
Yeah.
You know, so we're going to create an excitement and an optimism around studying Arabic and by extension studying Quran. And that's the last thing I'll share with you before I end this intensive. To me, Arabic is never the goal. The goal has always been, will always be Quran. Contemplating the word of Allah. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Let me tell you something about this ayah. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ. يَتَدَبَّرُونَ. Ya beginning, una ending means they.
They, yes.
Present tense. Ya beginning, una ending means
They.
they. Now I'm going to take the they off. يَتَدَبَّرُونَ. I'll take the una off. يَتَدَبَّرُ. Which is ta'allama yata'allamu. Tadabbara yatadabbaru. It's from the ta'allama family.
Yeah, that's
I didn't tell you the qualities of ta'allama family. That's coming in the next session, next intensive. But I'll tell you a little bit about it. The ta'allama family always has to do with something you do with a lot of effort.
Yeah.
When you put a lot of work into something, then you use the ta'allama family. So alima means he found out.
Okay.
Alima, he found out. Ta'allama, he learned. When you learn, don't you have to make effort?
Yeah.
Without effort, you cannot learn.
Mm-hmm.
Halima, he was patient.
Mm-hmm.
Or halama even, he was patient. Or haluma actually. Tahallama, he put a lot of effort into being patient.
Mm-hmm.
Tasabbar. Shakara, he was grateful. Tashakkara, he was extremely grateful. He put a lot of heart and soul into being grateful. Allah says in this ayah, dabara means to go behind, or adbara means to go behind.
Yeah.
Adbara also means to plan. Tadabbara, to put a lot of effort to contemplate what is the message behind this ayah. Afala yatadabbaruna al-Quran. Don't they then think deeply, put the effort to look behind the meanings of the Quran? What does that mean? Allah said this, but behind it, He's telling me what to do. He's telling me what to think. What is Allah getting at with this ayah? What is He telling me? He says, don't they then do tadabbur, contemplate, deeply think behind the meaning of the Quran? What lies behind it for them? Am ala qulubin aqfaluha. Or is it the case that hearts have their own locks on them? Aqfaluha, mudaf mudaf ilayh.
Yeah.
Am ala qulubin aqfaluha. It's a really strange ayah because you could say, do hearts have locks?
Yeah.
But aqfaluha is a mudaf ilayh.
Yeah.
And the ha, it's feminine, singular. It's the she.
Mm-hmm.
It's referring to the hearts because hearts are a broken plural, qulubin.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, if I say the doors have locks, right? The doors have locks.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But if I say the doors have their locks, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit different
Mm-hmm.
because you know what? The doors have locks means the door doesn't necessarily have a lock that's part of it.
Yeah.
Somebody came and put a lock on it.
Mm-hmm.
So they have locks that were not necessarily part of the door.
Yeah.
But if I say the doors have their own locks,
Came with it.
it's part of the door.
Yeah, it's with the pot.
It's part of the door. Allah says, Am ala qulubin, by the way, ala qulubin, jar majroor, or is it the case that on, ala means on, qulubin means some hearts. I'll teach you that transition a little bit later. Aqfaluha are their own locks. You know what that means? The heart comes with a lock.
Yeah.
It's not am ala qulubin aqfalun. Is it some hearts have locks? No, their own locks. You know what that means? Our hearts have, just like they have the ability to take in the light of Allah's word, they have the ability to lock. The heart has dangerous chemicals in it that can lock up the heart too.
Yeah.
They can lock up the heart too. And Allah is in this ayah, He says, don't they contemplate deeply on the Quran, or do the hearts have their own locks on them? Meaning the fact that they don't contemplate the Quran means their locks, the locks that were already part of their heart are actually now securing their heart and closing it up.
This is sort of like that rock thing, like the rock is like it's
That explodes open. It is like that. It is like that. And this actually, it tells you something else. People who refuse to contemplate on the Quran is because their hearts are locked up. Their hearts have their own locks on them, and that's why they don't feel the necessity the desire, the time and effort. And it's remarkable that Allah said the word tadabbara, which has effort inside it.
Yeah.
So it literally means contemplation. Contemplation or thinking deeply. That's what it means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But inside the family of the word is actually effort. Right?
Yeah.
It's as if Allah is saying, if one doesn't want to put the time and effort in to think about the Quran deeply, that must mean their hearts are still locked up. The fact that you're spending this much time trying to learn families, trying to remember obscure numbers of rules, but you're not doing it because the rules themselves are fun. You're doing it because you want to unlock the Quran and you want to be able to contemplate it. That means your hearts aren't locked up. And there's lots of other people that want to keep their hearts from being locked up. And we want to be a part of, I will never be able to reach them. I can make whatever videos I want, whatever articles I can write, books I can author. I won't be able to reach those people. Only you can reach those people. They're part of your world. They're part of your world. Some people will never listen to anything I say. They're not supposed to. They're supposed to listen to you. Allah made them part of your life, not mine. I have access to you. So I can pass something on to you, and then you become responsible for passing it on to them.
Yeah.
And that's actually what this program is about. That's actually why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm making lots and lots of dua for all of you. And those of you that are parents that inspire your kids to learn and are hoping that their kids pick this up, well, then first become hardcore students yourself. Dedicate yourselves. You see what this does to you. You see how your Quran reading changes.
Yeah.
You see what it does to your heart. You see what the surahs you've already memorized, how it starts messing with you. When you go back and listen to some of my old lectures on different surahs, it'll mean something else to you now. Even if you haven't studied all of Arabic yet, or all of grammar yet, all of sarf yet, there's lots more sarf to go. But even at the basic level, man, your neurons are going to fire very differently now. They're going to fire very, very differently when you listen to some of that old stuff, right? And inshallah ta'ala, it'll only be something more enriching and more beautiful for you. Keep up with the family memorizations, all 8. The PDF will be updated. Start memorizing Surah Al-Munafiqun. You still have time for that, but it'd be nice if you started memorizing. And go into Bayyinah TV and start listening casually to Surah Al-Munafiqun also, okay? I'm very proud of all of you. All of you are in my du'as. None of you are a disappointment. Those of you that fell behind, well, catch up. It's okay. Catch up. And if you're not able to catch up in 2 weeks, catch up in 3 weeks, catch up in 4 weeks, but have the intention that you're doing this. Dedicate, discipline yourself, have a time in your day when you're doing this. If you can't give me 2 hours every day, fine. You want to do 30 minutes a day on your own, you better give those 30 minutes. They belong to Allah. You handed them over to Allah. Do that for yourselves, and inshallah you will be you'll see the reward for it. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you go at that. You guys know all your assignments?
Yeah.
Okay. When we come back for the last intensive, again, the class session is going to be about 2 hours long. Jawad, additionally, I'd like for you to put up a review exam, not a long one, maybe 30 questions that covers intensive 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
Just 30 questions.
30.
And then we can go over that when we come back, because I still do want you to keep up with. And in fact, if you can make the 30 questions related to words that come from Surah Al-Munafiqun, it would be even better. Okay.
All right.
So whatever fi'l questions, ism questions, property of ism questions, fragment questions, whatever questions there are, let's make them from that. And we'll take it from there. I'll see you guys in a few days. Barakallahu li wa lakum.
Ustad?
Yeah.
Next 4 days, any Q&As?
No, just memorize. Next 4 days, just memorize. And if you're done memorizing the charts, then memorize Surah Al-Munafiqun. Okay. And if you've memorized Surah Al-Munafiqun, then listen to the durus of it. Okay. So you got plenty of things to do. So you don't need a QA right now. You know what you need to do. Focus on that, inshallah. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
It's crazy. Like, if I think about 2 months ago, you told me oh, you're gonna study Arabic and you're gonna know a little bit of Arabic. I would have told you you're mad. You're going
I am mad, and so are you.
No.
And so are all of these people.
No, if a random person